Have you ever looked at your savings account and thought, how is it this hard to just hit six figures? Like you grind every single month, you skip holidays, you say no to dinners, you invest consistently, and somehow you're sitting at $18,000 or $27,000 or $42,000 thinking, this is taking forever. And then you hear someone casually say, oh yeah, once I hit $100,000, it just started compounding. And you're like, must be nice, must be nice. But here's the thing. What if I told you the first $100,000 is brutally hard, not because you're bad with money, but because mathematically and psychologically, it's designed to be hard. And what if I told you the next $100,000 is actually easier? Not magically, but mechanically. My name is Ian, and I spend way too much time thinking about wealth building, compounding, and why normal people struggle financially longer than they need to. If you're someone who's trying to build real wealth, not just look rich on social media, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, let's challenge something early. Most people think building wealth is about returns. It's not. The first $100,000 has almost nothing to do with investment returns. It's about behavior, identity, and income. Here's what most people don't realize. When you're starting from $0, your money is doing almost none of the heavy lifting. You are. If you invest $5,000 at 8%, that's $400 in a year. That doesn't change your life. If you invest $20,000 at 8%, that's $1,600. Still not life-changing. So in the early phase, 95% of your progress comes from savings rate and income growth, not market returns. And that's exhausting because it means discipline. It means saying no. It means watching friends upgrade cars while you're calculating grocery budgets. It means feeling like you're doing everything right, but the scoreboard moves slowly. Let's do simple math. If you can save $1,000 per month, which already requires solid discipline for most people, that's $12,000 a year. Without investment growth, it takes over 8 years to reach $100,000. Even with average 8% returns, maybe you compress that to 7 years. 7 years feels long. That's why the first $100,000 feels like climbing uphill in mud. You're pushing the snowball yourself. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Once you hit $100,000 invested, assuming an average 8% annual return, your money now generates $8,000 per year on its own. That's $667 per month without you lifting a finger. Suddenly the math shifts. If you're still investing $1,000 per month and your portfolio adds roughly $667 from growth, you're effectively adding $1,667 per month toward the next milestone. That means the second $100,000 doesn't take 8 years. It might take 4 or less, depending on market cycles and increased income. The snowball starts rolling itself. Here's the psychological part no one talks about. The first $100,000 forces you to become a different person. You stop identifying as a consumer and start identifying as an investor. You track net worth. You understand opportunity cost. When someone says it's only $300, you automatically calculate what that becomes in 20 years at 8%. That identity shift is priceless. And once it happens, wealth accelerates because your decisions align with long-term thinking. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what if I can't save $1,000 a month? Good, let's address that. The formula is simple but not easy. Increase income, protect margin, automate investing. Early wealth building is an income game. Negotiating a $5,000 raise shortens the timeline dramatically. Building a side income of $500 per month adds $6,000 per year. Small expansions in income create disproportionate acceleration because they stack with compounding. And here's something slightly frustrating. Most people sabotage the climb to $100,000 because they upgrade their lifestyle too early. They hit $30,000 invested and think, I deserve the nicer apartment. They hit $50,000 and finance the car. Every time you inflate lifestyle before assets produce income, you reset your climb. The wealthy delay gratification until assets cover luxuries. Let me tell you a quick scenario. Two people both earn $70,000. Person A saves $500 per month and upgrades lifestyle every raise. Person B saves $1,500 per month and keeps expenses stable. After 5 years, person B is significantly closer to $100,000, while person A is wondering why nothing sticks. It's not intelligence, it's gap control. The gap between income and expenses funds your future. Here's what most people don't realize. Compounding is boring at first and dramatic later. In the early years, growth looks flat. Then suddenly, charts curve upward. That curve is why the second $100,000 feels easier. At $200,000 invested, 8% generates $16,000 per year. That's more than many people save annually. Your money is now working almost as hard as you are. This is where mindset shifts again. The first $100,000 teaches patience. The second teaches belief. Because once you see your portfolio fluctuate rate by $3,000 in a week, you understand scale. Volatility feels different. You stop panicking at small dips because you've seen recovery before. And by the time you approach $300,000, something powerful happens. Market growth in a strong year could add $20,000 or more without extra effort from you. That's when the equation flips. Instead of asking, how much can I save this month? You start asking, how can I protect and optimize what's already growing? That's a completely different level of thinking. And let me add this, momentum creates motivation. When you see your investments generate $10,000 or $15,000 in a year, you realize your money is now a teammate, not just a tool. That psychological boost keeps you consistent. It reduces the urge to quit. It makes short-term sacrifices feel strategic instead of painful. And here's another layer people miss. Risk tolerance changes too. When you only have $5,000 invested, a $1,000 drop feels catastrophic. When you have $250,000 invested, a $1,000 drop barely registers. Scale changes emotion. Experience reduces fear. You start thinking in percentages, not dollars. That maturity is powerful. Now let's zoom out. If it takes you 7 years to hit the first $100,000, but only 4 years to hit $200,000, and maybe 3 years to hit $300,000, you start realizing wealth growth isn't linear, it's exponential. That's why older investors seem to build wealth faster. They're standing on compounding momentum built years earlier. But I need to be honest, the first $100,000 is brutally hard because it demands sacrifice without immediate visible reward. You won't feel rich, you won't look rich. Your car might be average, your holidays modest, and social media will tempt you daily. That's the psychological war. Delayed gratification in a culture of instant consumption. So what's the actionable plan? Step 1. Obsess over savings rate early. Aim for 30% to 50% if possible. Step 2. Increase income consistently. Job switches, skill stacking, side income. Step 3. Automate investments into diversified assets so emotion doesn't interfere. Step 4. Track net worth quarterly to stay motivated. Step 5. Avoid lifestyle inflation until investments generate meaningful passive growth. And here's the deeper truth. The first $100,000 is hard because you're building the engine. The next $100,000 is easier because the engine is running. By $300,000 or $500,000, momentum becomes powerful. That's when people say it feels like it's growing on its own, because it is. So if you're sitting at $12,000 or $48,000 feeling behind, you're not behind. You're in the hardest phase, the grind phase, the identity building phase, the phase that separates people who talk about wealth from people who quietly build it. Stay consistent long enough for compounding to recognize you, because once it does, the game changes permanently. And remember this, wealth doesn't explode because of one lucky year. It explodes because of many boring, disciplined years stacked on top of each other. The first $100,000 proves you can do hard things. The second proves the system works. After that, it's about staying in the game long enough to let time multiply your discipline. I am Ian. Don't be broke. See ya.